The planet Krylos was a harsh, unforgiving world. Its dense jungles teemed with predatory creatures, its skies darkened by perpetual storms, and its terrain was a labyrinth of jagged cliffs and treacherous swamps. It was not a place for the weak or the unprepared, and yet it was here in the heart of this deadly wilderness that a lone alien mother and her child fought for survival. The mother, the Zorathian named Kaela, clutched her infant son, Teyen, tightly to her chest as she stumbled through the undergrowth. Her once vibrant blue scales were dull and cracked, her body weakened by hunger and exhaustion. Her people had abandoned her, casting her out into the wilds for a crime she did not commit. Now, she and her child were alone, left to die in a land that showed no mercy. Kaela's breath came in ragged gasps as she pushed forward, her legs trembling with every step. She had no destination, no hope of rescue. She only knew that she had to keep moving for Teyen's sake. The infant whimpered softly, his tiny claws digging into her chest as he clung to her. Kaela whispered soothing words to him, though her voice was hoarse and barely audible over the howling wind. Night was falling, and with it came the chilling cries of Krylos' nocturnal predators. Kaela knew they were being hunted. She could feel the eyes watching her from the shadows, hear the rustling of leaves as unseen creatures closed in. She tightened her grip on Teyen and quickened her pace, but her strength was fading fast. Miles away, a human hunter named Elias crouched low in the underbrush, his rifle resting across his knees. He had been on Krylos for weeks, tracking a rare and elusive beast known as a Vorith. Its hide was worth a fortune, and Elias needed the credits. But as he scanned the jungle with his thermal scope, something unexpected caught his eye. A faint heat signature, small and flickering, appeared on the edge of his vision. Elias frowned, adjusting the scope to get a better look. It wasn't a Vorith. It was too small, too irregular. Curiosity piqued. He slung his rifle over his shoulder and moved toward the signal. What he found stopped him in his tracks. A Zorathian female, barely conscious, lay slumped against a tree. Her scales were dull and cracked, her body emaciated. Clutched to her chest was a tiny infant, its wide eyes staring up at him in fear. Elias had seen Zorathians before, but only from a distance. They were a proud and reclusive species, rarely seen off their homeworld. To find one here, in this state, was unheard of. Kaela's eyes fluttered open as Elias approached, and she instinctively curled her body around Teyen, shielding him from the stranger. Her voice was weak but defiant. "Stay back," she hissed, her claws extending in a feeble attempt to intimidate him. Elias raised his hand slowly, showing he meant no harm. "Easy," he said, his voice calm and steady. "I'm not going to hurt you. You're in bad shape. Let me help." Kaela hesitated, her instincts warring with her desperation. She had no reason to trust this human, but she had no other options. Her strength was gone, and Teyen's life depended on her. Reluctantly, she nodded. Elias worked quickly, setting up a makeshift camp and tending to Kaela's wounds. He gave her water and rations, watching as she devoured them with a mixture of relief and guilt. Teyen, meanwhile, clung to his mother, his tiny body trembling with fear. "What happened to you?" Elias asked as he cleaned a deep gash on Kaela's arm. "Zorathians don't just wander into places like this." Kaela's eyes darkened, and she looked away. "I was exiled," she said bitterly. "My people, they accused me of a crime I did not commit. They cast me out, left me to die. I tried to survive, for Teyen's sake, but her voice broke, and she shook her head. I failed." Elias frowned, his jaw tightening. He had seen enough of the galaxy to know that injustice was common, but it still angered him. "You didn't fail," he said firmly. You're still here, and so is he. That's not failure. Kaela looked at him, her eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and disbelief. Why are you helping us? She asked. You don't owe us anything. Elias shrugged. Maybe not, but I've been in enough tough spots to know that sometimes all it takes is one person to make a difference. Besides, he added with a faint smile, I've got a soft spot for kids. Over the next few days, Elias worked tirelessly to ensure Kaela and Teyen's survival. He hunted for food, purified water, and even fashioned a sling to carry Teyen while Kaela regained her strength. The bond between them grew, forged in the crucible of Krylos' unforgiving wilderness. But their peace was short-lived. One night, as they huddled around a small fire, the jungle came alive with the sounds of pursuit. Kaela's ears twitched, and her eyes widened in fear. They found us, she whispered. Who? Elias asked, his hand instinctively reaching for his rifle. My people, Kaela replied, her voice trembling. They must have realized I survived. They won't let me live, not after what they accused me of. Elias's jaw tightened, and he stood, his rifle at the ready. Then we'll make sure they don't find you. The Zorathian hunters emerged from the shadows, their scales glinting in the firelight. They were armed and armored, their expressions cold and merciless. Elias stepped forward, blocking their path to Kaela and Teyen. This doesn't have to end in bloodshed, he said, his voice steady. Leave them alone, and we'll go our separate ways. The lead hunter sneered, his claws flexing. The exile and her offspring are condemned. Step aside, human, or you will share their fate. Elias didn't flinch. I'm not stepping aside. The hunters attacked, their movements swift and deadly. But Elias was ready. He fired his rifle, the shots echoing through the jungle as he fought to protect Kaela and Teyen. Kaela, though weakened, joined the fight, her claws slashing at any hunter who came too close. The battle was fierce, but Elias and Kaela fought with everything they had. When the dust settled, the hunters lay defeated, their bodies scattered across the forest floor. Elias was wounded, his side bleeding from a deep gash, but he was alive. Kaela rushed to his side, her eyes filled with worry. You're hurt, she said, her voice trembling. Elias managed a weak smile. I've had worse, but we need to get out of here. More will come. Together, they made their way to Elias's ship, a small but sturdy vessel hidden deep in the jungle. Kaela helped Elias aboard, her strength returning as her determination to protect Teyen and her newfound friend grew. As the ship lifted off, leaving Krylos behind, Kaela looked down at the planet that had nearly claimed their lives. Thank you, she said softly, her eyes meeting Elias's. You saved us. You gave us a chance. Elias shook his head. You saved yourselves. I just gave you a little help. Kaela smiled, a rare and beautiful sight. You gave us more than that. You gave us hope. Epilogue. Elias, Kaela, and Teyen traveled the galaxy together, their bond unbreakable. Kaela's name was eventually cleared, thanks to evidence Elias helped uncover, and she was welcomed back by her people. But she chose to stay with Elias, her loyalty to him unwavering.